What is up, people in the internet world? Jason here with another episode of the Self-Made Show, and we're on live today because Skype and Dale Roberts and myself have a tumultuous relationship. We never are able to connect, and we have transitioned over to Google Hangouts, and so there might be some people checking in on us, but we're going to completely ignore you and we're going to have a conversation. So I'm proud to announce my good buddy Dale is on the show. I think you're probably the first guest I've actually met in person, so that's pretty cool. And
Yes.
yeah, man. So Jesus, we did a little intro before, so I guess this will be like a canned intro. But talk a little bit about your early background and all that good stuff, and then we'll get into what you're doing nowadays.
I tell you, it's funny. We did it once. It's like now I got to kind of do it. The nice thing is I could go back and kind of edit what I said before.
Exactly,
Like,
you can make it sound better.
Yeah, exactly. I am one of three children from a military family. I was the middle child in one of the family that did the military, and at a very early age, I loved to read and write. And as I was growing up, that was my biggest ambition, was to become a writer. Somewhere along decided that college just wasn't for me. When I went to it for journalism, I dropped out about a year and a half in. Just didn't have the thick skin to handle a lot of criticism, and I wasn't coachable or teachable. I'm a good writer. So I decided I wanted to become a rock star, and I played in many underground rock bands and, to some moderate success. Meanwhile, trying to carry a full-time job in the healthcare industry. And I've always been very high energy, so I've always had many things going on at the same time. And as life usually does, it evolves. And I kind of grew out of that rock star type thing, and I fell in love with the business of professional wrestling. And it's a really long story and something that we probably wouldn't have time for, and your viewers will probably start checking out. But essentially, I fell in love with professional wrestling in 1999, and I fell in love with the athleticism. For many years when I was a kid, I thought this stuff is fake, so why should I pay attention?
Right.
Well, I loved watching the athleticism, because many people can agree. Sure, is it a worked business? Yeah, of course it is. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I mean, Vince McMahon calls it sports entertainment for a reason. Sports entertainment. Let's get over this, guys. But in any event, there is still an athleticism to it. There's a skill required. And I want to shatter the myth. You ready for this, Jason? Okay. Some people think that you are taught how to fall without it hurting. It still hurts.
Right.
It still hurts. You minimize the impact. And I'm going to tell you, if somebody tells me that, it doesn't hurt, I want you to talk to my neck and my back and my hip and a few of my knuckles. So yes. So I got into professional wrestling. It was probably about 2002. I got trained by a local promoter in Columbus. He was really, really terrible. It wasn't until right about 2006 I flew up to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I studied under former WWE superstar Lance Storm. And it was life-changing for me. I really loved learning from somebody who was just dedicated to the craft of professional wrestling. Sadly, once again, you guys can see we're shifting gears. We're going right back into another transition in my life. In 2008, my low back blew on me. It was a severe injury. It was so bad, I literally could not bend my left leg because the nerve was pinched in my low back. It created such agonizing pain that I ended up self-prescribing I took a lot of prescription medications. I drank a lot. I really did everything to try to get rid of that pain until finally I said, okay, something's got to give. And so I actually had to get out of professional wrestling and get myself well. Thankfully, I never became anything, but I did end up getting myself some great therapy for my back. I saw a doctor that did decompression therapy, and he brought my quality of life back up, I had to really make a large change. I had to kind of say, okay, no more professional wrestling. And that was going from 2002 to 2008, 6 years of believing I'm going to become this big professional wrestling superstar. And I had opportunities. But there was time between 2008 and I would say right about a couple years ago, I was working as an activities director in the assisted living communities. And what I did was activities directors play with seniors for a living. It sounds funny, but you literally, that's it. You play card games, bingo, you take them on outings, you do crafts with them, you do gardening. It's essentially, you're just enhancing their quality of life in assisted living environments. And it was an awesome job. Man, I was paid really, really well, Jason. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh gosh, it was so awful getting paid so much to play all day. It was awesome. But there was that breaking point to where I felt like there's still something missing, because I am an obsessive compulsive person. I really spend a lot of my time on one thing. I go for it, and I go for it all the way. There's no halfway with me. If you tell me do 5 push-ups, I'll do push-ups. I think, Jason, you discovered even as well, where you gave me some recommendations. You're like, I need you to do 6 of these types of books. I did 8 to 10.
Right.
That's just how I am. But here's the problem. It started to take me away, and I think you could probably relate to this to a certain degree. It took me the person I love most, and that's my wife. She makes me whole. And a lot of people are like, oh gosh. No, she really does. She's my workout partner. She has the same belief and mindset that we do. And the problem is my work was up here. My wife was down here. And that's not right. You got to get your life in alignment. You got to remember, what did I get married to her for? I got married to her so that I wasn't around her anymore. So it was in 2013. I had a wellness coach that said to me, Dale, I can't challenge you physically or nutrition wise, because she would challenge me and she's like, so how many squats can you do? Let's go ahead and shoot for 1,000. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I can do 1,000 straight. Because, I did it in professional wrestling. Why can't I do it now? So she pushing me. She's like, okay, what haven't you done? I was like, you know what? I haven't wrote a book. I've always wanted to write a book. And she's like, dude, that is your goal. So I would get up every morning at 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. before I'd have to go work out and then go to work. And I started writing my first book, The 3 Keys to Greater Health and Happiness. Now, mind you, it's not the greatest book in the world, but I think that, you and I both agree here, Jason, that the first book is always the hardest. And it's not going to be the best.
You got to start somewhere. I mean, you got to get that first one out. Yeah. So
yeah, it's tough. And if anybody's watching this and you have that same problem, get it done. Just get it done. Don't worry about perfection. Get that little SOB out of the way, because the funny thing is it gets easier, believe it or not. But in any event, I finished it up within a year, and I released it on March of 2014. Now, I knew I was going to have friends and family that were going to be buying it. Now, here's the really cool thing. I don't know if I told you this one, Jason. I didn't do it on Kindle. I actually only did it on CreateSpace, because I was like, okay, who actually reads Kindle? Yes, yeah, I did think that. I did think that. I went on CreateSpace. I did the book. I said, to Kindle eventually. Well, here's what ends up happening is friends and family started buying it, and they started sharing with other people, and I started seeing checks coming in. Meanwhile, in the background, Kelly had already started her business in Amazon FBA, working from home and doing reselling. And she was getting better and better. And I loved going out and doing that with her. It was like a treasure hunt. I'd take my phone along with me and I'd scan products and I'd be like, yeah, I'll be like, check this out. And we'd make some great money for it.
Right.
So I told her, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't I quit my job? I become a full-time writer, and I'll help you out with your Amazon FBA business at the same time, because I love doing it, which still to this day, I find it fun. We don't do any, well, actually, this will be our first year we haven't done it at all, because we're both focusing full-time on writing. But in any event, it took me a while. It probably was until we came across your videos in January last year that I finally took it from saying I'm an author. There's a difference here, folks. There's a difference between saying you're an author and actually being an author. Okay, you can't just sit there and talk about it. You got to be about it. And that was a huge thing, is you create transition for me, Jason, where I saw your videos on YouTube and it really kind of ignited me. And we ended up buying your course on self-publishing, watched the whole thing within 2 days. We were so excited about it. We created massive action. And I'll tell you, the rest is history. So that's a long background. I think that pretty much covers our entire hour. Thank you for tuning in, folks.
It's been great talking to you, Dale. No, man. No, that's interesting, man. There's a lot to cover there, and there's a lot we could dive into. But what I'm really curious about is, so you've been really, what, about a year focused on writing as far as like your full-time profession, right?
Yeah, it really has been technically a year. I left my 9-to-5 job in September of 2014. I literally slacked off from about September, October, November, December. Here's the issue, though. As I'm slacking off, our net and savings was going. So our safety net was disappearing slowly but surely. And it got to the point where Kelly's just like, you got to get to work.
Right. And you're finding primarily a lot of your success in under your own. I mean, a lot of people watching this, they probably have discovered using pen names and even done that before, but you're finding a lot of success writing books, obviously for yourself, under your own name, and you're primarily in the health and fitness realm, right?
Yeah, primarily in the health fitness realm. I've probably got, I think, a little over a dozen publications. I have other books that I did freelance. I'd hire freelance writers to do that. And that does make up for a little bit of my income. But my primary income as a writer is from my own writings, because I'm a bit more invested in it. I have to say that I can spend $50 on a freelancer and I'll get some good work and I'll put it up and I'll see a decent amount of income coming from that. But I'm not going to spend too much time trying to market it or promote it or anything else like that. I try to focus on my own brand and building relationships. That was something I learned from you. I learned from D1 and I learned from Dave Koziel. You guys were all three of you were huge in saying, build a relationship. It never connected for me though at first. That's the huge problem. Someone says build relationships. Okay, well, here's the very first thing that I was doing. I got a book. You should read it. That's the problem. And funny. I actually was interacting with somebody in somebody else or something like that. This person was real frustrated because he was like, "I am building relationships. I'm going into all these Kindle book groups and I'm telling them about my free book." Well, here's the problem: is it's me, 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 me. You're talking about me, 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 and you're not focusing enough on what is it that your audience wants to, just to read. What is it that they need? Because if you're just saying me, here, read my book, read my book, read my book, no one's going to listen. Okay, people don't really want to be, they want to have a good connection. They want to be connected with. What did John C. Maxwell say? I think it was people want to know that you care. Gosh darn it, it eludes my brain. So much for the first sleep last night, right?
Yeah, I hear you, man. But what you bring up an interesting point, and someone was asking me on Periscope the other day. They're like, is Kindle like too oversaturated, or like, is it still like a plausible way to make money? And I said, well, if you're doing things the kind of the BS way, where you're flooding the market, you're not focused on making quality books, you're not focused on building relationships, you're not making stuff that is going to stand the test of time, then yeah, it's not going to work. That might have worked 3 or 4 years ago or 2 years ago, what have you. But nowadays it's doing what you're doing, and actually putting that time and effort and having a little bit more patience and having it work out. So in fact, you're kind of a living testament to this, because it took you I think it was 7 or 8 months. You just recently had a #1 bestseller. Can you talk about kind of the road up to that and how that all worked out, and then kind of what that book is?
as you alluded to earlier, we were given the opportunity to meet up with you, and we already
highlighted your whole life, I know, but don't worry about it.
Right. Well, actually, it actually was. It was an awesome day. I remember we were so
it was a fun time, man.
Well, for the viewers to kind of understand a little bit of that, what happened was we were involved in one of the groups, and I really recommend if you are an author or you're a self-publisher, get yourself involved in other publishing books and other author groups. Now, I'm not talking about the spammy ones that share all their check out my free blah blah blah. That's not a real group, okay? That's just a freaking forum for people to just share their spammy books. Okay, you need to get into a group where there's like-minded individuals. Masterminds are even better, but if you can get into at least a group of like 100, 200 people, or even more that have the same passion as you do, that's the best way to connect. You mentioned one time that you were going to Tony Robbins on Unlimited. Is it Unlimited
Unleash the Power Within? Yeah.
Unleash the Power Within. Yes.
It's interesting.
Yes. Which I highly recommend. Anybody that also is an owner of some sort, plug into Tony Robbins. The guy's amazing. And had I really had the opportunity to upgrade and go along with you to the Tony Robbins seminar, I probably would have, because I find the guy fascinating. But
it was an interesting experience.
Any event. So what's happening is you say pretty much like to everybody, hey, I'm going out to Chicago. It's going to be pretty big. If you guys want to, we can meet up. And the funny thing is, if you recall, everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. And like, there's all these lists of people, and we're like, yeah. And all of a sudden, as the date came closer, people started dropping off. Kelly and I already ordered our tickets. We said, screw this. We're not messing around. You're giving us this golden opportunity to pour into us. And we were like, we already have this much from learning from his course. What more can we get if we can interact directly? Well, then we started to see that they're down to like us and like one other person. That one other person, unfortunately, was like, I can't get out of work. I can't make it. Kelly and I looked at each other and we're going, are you kidding me? We're like, and I think I even communicated with you, was like, dude, if you'd want to kind of do your own thing, you were like, no. And I remember we were so giddy about the fact that we were going to get your time and your one-on-one attention. And it was quite possibly, and it was funny, you kind of kid about it. It was probably my big turning point. And there was many big turning points, but that was the turning point, because you were like, okay, what do you got? And you started looking through my books and you were like, you might as well have been like, crap. What's that? You pointed right at it. And it was my 90-day home workout plan. And you were like, hey man, this is doing you really good. Let's go back to that well. And let's keep going back to that well. And then do you have your own domain? And I'm like, no. I'm like, all right, we're going to do it now. I'm like, right now? Yeah, why not? I'm like, oh, okay. So here's the really cool why it's the turning point for me, because you showed me that it doesn't require stopping and thinking about it. It requires action. Shoot first, aim second. Exactly. Screw it, go for it. And that's how some of what I've done lately is I go ahead and take action, massive action, and do it right away. Why wait? The curtains don't need to be ironed. The dishes really need to be washed immediately. You can always take care of those things. They're going to take care of you for years to come. So that was something I learned from you. So yeah, it actually was life-changing for us in Chicago. So, you speed up a little bit. What's happening is you and I kind of connected. I purchased a couple hours of coaching with you, and somehow, you kept letting me come back. So you gave me some great recommendations on how to really build and grow my brand, because you were like, okay, this is what we got to do. The huge thing was let's love on your audience and let's build that audience. And we started really building around the whole plan type brand. And this is the really cool thing is I started seeing my paychecks literally tripling. And I was like, whoa, this guy, it was not kidding. And you kept saying it's going to be a slow burn. Hang in there. Hang in there. Sometimes I would see these like get rich quick type things. And I would say, hey, hey, bro, what do you think about this? And you go, no, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that. For instance, one of the things I remember, I heard that unpublishing and republish books was a method. I was like, hey, I hear that you can unpublish your book and republish it, and then you get to have the favor of Amazon's 30-day algorithm again behind you. You're like, no, you don't do that. And you to give me that guidance, I was like, I didn't even question it. I was like, as soon as you said, no, you don't do that, I didn't even question it. And I'm so glad I stuck with it, because the funny thing is, the more as the brand started growing, my old book that I released in March last year, the 90-day home workout plan, started going back up into the bestsellers. Sometimes it's down, like it's in a dip down right now, but then it shoots back up to the bestsellers, and sometimes it'll be top 5, and it'll go in and out. It's really kind of cool to see that work. Well, I released a bunch of bundles in around the Christmas time. It was about a couple of weeks before, and it was purposeful. I knew Christmas is coming. People are putting on holiday weight. They're going to be looking for a solution. So I said, what is the best way that I can kind of get everything put together so that way people aren't just getting a New Year's resolution and quit in January? What's the solution I can give them? I will give them every freaking workout and nutrition element that I can into one book. And that's where I came up with an Ultimate Home Workout Plan bundle.
Right.
I took all my best books, put it all into one. I researched the keywords to kind of see how it would work, because bundles are huge. Now, don't get me wrong. Not all bundles are big. If you're putting together crap, forget it. But if you got a good, all going to be looking for it. So this bundle was big, and it released on December 10th. It was within 30 days, literally 30 days. As I've started seeing it climb up, it became a #1 hot new release in aerobics, #1 hot new release, I think, in weight training. And you can only get hot new release if it's within the first 30 days, of course. So what ends up happening is, after that first 30 days, you're no longer pressed as a hot new release. Well, here's the cool thing is, I kept climbing up, and then I noticed I break into number 11 in the best sellers list, not the hot new release list, in the best sellers list for the aerobics category. And it starts creeping up, and I think to myself, okay, I started my price point $4.99, drop it to $2.99, started seeing more sales. Okay. Well, it starts moving up to that number 11 spot, and I'm having a conversation with my buddy Kevin Allen, and I said to Kevin, I was like, you think people would buy it if I put it for 99 cents? It's like, bro, he goes, you were giving it away for that much. I'm like, awesome. Let's push this to #1.
Right.
And he goes, all right, let's do it. And it was like almost like he challenged me, and seriously put it at 99 cents, literally, boom, right away. It was right on day #1, right after the 30 days, the algorithm Amazon puts on it came off. So I really came off of it and went into #1 bestseller, and it started just selling like hot cakes. It was just rapid fire. It stayed in that #1 spot. It would dip out, it'd dip it back in. And actually, I still believe it's still in the top 5 in that specific category. It's in the top 20 within weight training, and it's in, I think it was #2 today in ab workouts, which was a special category. But it's very funny that, you mentioned that. I actually ended up putting together, and this was, by your recommendation, I put together a full case study for this. And there was so much more strategy involved than what I'm just kind of, glossed over just now.
Yeah.
It was a lot of stuff. And, with your help and guidance, and my buddy Kevin Allen, Kevin was a huge supporter. He actually had his own email list, and he shot out the deal to him. He believe in you. He's like, this is amazing. He's like, people should have this book. And I credit, a lot of the readers, subscribers on the different social medias for getting it to that point and having it maintained. That's really cool. I'm absolutely humbled by it, and it's really cool to say, yeah, I'm Dale L. Roberts, #1 best-selling fitness author.
Yeah, I mean, you can never take that away. And I think it gone on to help your other books and stuff? Or are you getting more people coming in and buying your other books?
Yes, I have seen with that growth, it's funny, you start to see it has a trickle-down effect. So, for instance, like I said, the 90-day home workout plan, which is, part of that, an Ultimate Home Workout bundle, that one has got, I've got other bundles as well inside exercise. I also have some perma-free books as well that I can go up considerably, especially worldwide. I wish I would have kept a little bit closer track of the different regions throughout the world. I know that I ran into one area where I was the best, and it's slipping my mind. It might have been in the UK. It could have been Canada. I know there's a huge difference, but nonetheless, I know that at this point I'm a international seller. So that's really kind of a cool thing.
That's cool. So what are your future plans? I know you mentioned you have a case study. Where can people find that at?
Yes, actually, this is an exclusive for people that are interested in what I'm putting together. I actually will be doing a full writing course. I feel that I have enough experience at this point and enough knowledge that I want to pass this on to people that want to become writers, people that want to become authors of something they're passionate about and self-publishing. So actually, I put together a full 1-month course called Boot Camp for Writers, and you can get information at bootcampforwriters.com. When you're there, you just sign up your email. I'm not going to spam you, I promise. And at that point, actually, you'll be offered an exclusive offer of that case study, and that's really, it's only for subscribers. So get on over there, and you can take advantage of that offer. I'm very proud of this report, and to tell you, I'm giving it away at a steal at this point.
I like that, man. So bootcampforwriters.com. So what are your plans now? I mean, you're going to keep grinding on Kindle. Do you have any specific books that you're going to be looking at? I mean, do you have a goal for 2016 as to how many books that you want to release?
Yeah, my big goal is trying to, I have probably, actually, this is not probably, I know for sure, I have 12 books in development right now. When I say I'm high energy, I'm energy. If I feel like I have a good idea, I just run with it. Right now, 3 are already drafted, and it's just going in and fine-tuning them and setting up some photos with it. I actually got off the phone with a great friend of mine, Jinx, yesterday, and he helped me put together a really magnanimous project. And I don't want to be premature in sharing it, but it's going to be great. It's going to be some good butt workouts, if you will. It was something you and I actually talked about. You're like, hey, I remember you were like, man, you got to get butt workouts. And I've got some butt workouts, but no, it's exclusive to the butt. So
if you go on Instagram, dude, I mean, that's all you see is women that are trying to get like the squat booty. Actually, I've got a good buddy of mine. His name's Jordan Miller. Shout out to Jordan Miller if you're watching this. He's actually doing a coaching program on building a booty. I think I got to get his website too. Let me shout out his website real quick since we're live. Hopefully he's watching this, man. Let's see here. Jordan, where you at, dude? I don't know. I might do the live format from now on, man. I actually got an interview coming up later today. I'm going to actually probably do the live format with that too. Jordan,
it's blast. Yeah,
it's fun.
No safety net.
No safety net, dude. Jordan Miller, Success by Design. Wait a minute. Where is his website, dude? I don't know, man.
And for all your viewers, while they're waiting, I will show my biceps.
Oh, flex. Yeah, there you go, dude.
Yeah. I put on my little shirt today. That's why I'm fitting so snug.
That's what you got to do, man. I think it's Jordan Miller Success by Design .leadpages.com. I'm not, or .com. I don't know, but just you'll find the guy. He's all about building your booty. But
yeah.
So at any rate, you're doing that. You got 12 books. Talk a little bit about your writing structure. How do you what's your day-to-day look like when you're writing a book or doing whatever you're doing?
I really, the one thing about my day is there's no 2 days alike, right? But there's a similar structure that I go. I get up in the morning, I get my breakfast. That's just a huge thing for me. And then I go immediately work out and I try to get that stuff done. And that way it frees me up for the rest of the day and also kickstarts my energy. That's why I'm so energetic, because it wasn't just about an hour before you and I connected. I just got out of the gym.
You did
So
your
I'm gonna
Zumba,
be
you did your
cranking
Zumba
for.
class, yeah.
I actually did 2 Zumba classes in a row. Big shout out to Carol Langkamp for her Zumba. She turned me onto it. Now I'm a Zumba addict. At any rate, I get my workouts done, and essentially right about now is the time that I take, probably about 4 hours that I sit down. I try to go uninterrupted. I put social media off the side. I have my phone flipped upside down so I don't see any notifications, and I just get to work. There are some people that like to do the 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. I think it was like Pomodoro method or something like that. For me, I like to work 90 minutes at a time and then take like 20, 30 minutes, grab something, get up, stretch a little bit, move around. But that's how I do it. I try to get the hardest chunk of the day. If writing for you is hard, do it first. So that way the rest of your day is available and you can have a great time. My goal typically is to sit down and do right about 1,000 to 3,000 words per day. That's why I've got to go undistracted. And when it comes to how I focus on my content, it really depends on the self-imposed deadlines I put on it. So for instance, the case study, I knew that this interview was coming up and I knew we were going to bring it up. So I knew I had to ratchet that one down. So did I have a few hours of sleep? Yes. Do I regret that? No. I actually am very excited. I think the one thing that propels me forward is knowing that I can be of service to other people. So when you're sitting down doing your writing, even if you're doing fiction, this works for nonfiction and fiction as well. Remember, you're writing, you're taking a person into reality. You're suspending their disbelief. So that right there is service, because sometimes people really do need that escape. That's why I love reading. I love fiction. Gives me an escape as well, that I'm able to just sit down and learn a little bit. So, but in any event, if you can just sit down and think about the people that you're going to positively affect in your life, from the world, that's what's going to keep you focused. That's what's going to keep you pounding away. That's going to keep you grinding. Some people say, I don't know how you do it. How do you work from home? I would never be focused. Well, yeah, if I wasn't focused, guess what? I would starve. That's right. That's another thing.
Train yourself.
Right, exactly. You end up training yourself. And I think, Jason, you've been an entrepreneur file now. So how was it for you? Did you find it a struggle when you did it from home?
Not really. I just, I don't know. I don't think so. I'd rather much be doing this than working and going in and clocking in every day and doing something that I don't want to do, So, yeah, sometimes it is a struggle, especially balancing a family life and things like that. But I definitely find it definitely rewarding when you can do stuff to help people, because I get, like you said, some of the stuff I've done has helped you. I've talked to, a lot of people. So that's been good. But I don't find it too much of a struggle. Not really.
That's good. I'm sure you're probably so far into your entrepreneur life that it's kind of like me. I actually will wake up from nightmares of actually, working a full-time job again.
Yeah.
And I literally will wake up going, oh no,
I gotta go check in. I gotta clock in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I got to go clock in, or there's a meeting I've got to be to, or I've got to answer these emails, and just I can't see it anymore. I like the fact that my family life, being my wife and my cat, don't laugh, but I find my family life, the fact that my work revolves around that instead of the other way around is a beautiful design, and I can't express enough to anybody who's watching this. I don't expect for you to burn the boats all at once. If you're working at your regular job for the last 10 years, just all of a sudden walk out because Dale L. Roberts told you that you should do that, but you definitely need to experience how this feels, because it's just amazing. I can't express to you enough that I love the fact that I get to wake up and don't have to, got to get into traffic and drive for 3 minutes, bumper to bumper. I love that. Or get yelled at because I didn't wear my clothes properly, or I didn't follow a certain procedure, or worse yet, someone's gossiped about me, and they say that I've gossiped about them, and there's there's none of that issues when you're working from home, something like this.
There's
So
a lot of
it's
politics
awesome.
in that, and I'm not anti-job, man. If you have to work a job, you got to work a
Yeah,
job, and if you love doing
absolutely.
it, by all means. But at the same time, like a lot of people I get emails and Facebook messages are like, dude, like, oh, should I quit my job? I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're willing to start a business or work from home and you bust your ass and you can put in a ton of work, like you said, you're up all night doing this. If you're willing to commit to doing that, you're going to be successful. Like a lot of people are like, hey, I'm working hard. And then I look at what they're doing and they're not really working hard. And so if you're willing to work hard and put the hours in and have
Yeah.
patience, it'll pay off. If you're not willing to do that, then yeah, you're better off working a job, in my opinion.
There's something, and I would love to piggyback off that point. There's something that some people say is it worth it? You're working far more hours than what I do in a 40-hour work week at my job. Yes and no. What I do is fun. I find it fulfilling. Just to kind of liken to a point here of when I used to play video games, my brother and I used to sit down and play hours. I mean, hours at a time. And you lose track of time. Am I not right? You're laughing, so I'm assuming you've
I've done
been
it before.
down that path.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose track of time. You pal around with people. I remember I would play like wrestling games and do a create a wrestler, and I'd sit there and make him have these certain color trunks, and he'd be a certain size, and I put tassels on his arms, and that, and after a while you're kind of like, oh my God, I just was spending 3 hours on a create a wrestler. I don't think anybody's paying me for that.
No.
But that's how I kind of look at my work. That's why I try not to say it's my job, but I look at my work this way. I work my passion. I love to write. So if people are looking at this going, I'm going to get rich really quick. Well, you better like writing because you're going to be doing a lot of it. And here's the sad thing. Actually, Kevin Cruz, I don't know if you've ever heard of him before, a writer.
So.
Actually he read it's last name spelled Kruse. I definitely recommend you take a look at Kevin's. He actually has a blog, and he brought up a little bit about his experience as an entrepreneur. And he said it's funny. He likes the process of writing, but the problem is being an entrepreneur, sadly, it's only 5% of the actual total work. And I have to agree with them. It really is. It's a small degree because you've got to edit it. You've got to, research it. You have to get a cover. You've got to promote. You've got to get out there, build relationships. So, writing is a small equation. So I like the entire package of publishing and writing. There are some things that, yeah, sure. I'm like, hey, I can't wait to look up those keywords. That's exciting. I'm never like that, but I love the challenge of sitting down and trying to figure my way out around. The really cool thing is things I don't enjoy, like researching keywords. The things I don't like about that, I always think to myself, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do this, get it done with. So that way I can do the thing that I enjoy the most, which is writing. And I become lost in my writing. I just become, and after a while, like, oh my gosh, it's time to go get something to eat. So, but yeah, I don't know. Is that the same way for you? I've never really asked you before. I know you do a lot of work. Do you get lost in your work? And do you find sometimes that, oh my gosh, I've got to go eat?
Sometimes, yeah. Like right now, like I'm doing a couple different courses. I'm launching training. I'm doing a lot of different things at the same time. So yeah, sometimes I will be doing recording videos or working on a sales funnel or something like that. And I'm like, oh, damn, but for me, in my particular lifestyle, I have a 2-year-old and 3 dogs. And so it's constantly something getting my attention. So I'm always getting buzzed or something's going on. So I'm typically kind of on alert at all times. But yeah, I mean, I invested in a pair of like headphones, the noise canceling headphones, and those have been really cool because I've been rocking those out while I'm working or whatever. And so sometimes those kind of keep me zoned in. So yeah, man, I mean, it can happen, dude. When you're in the zone, man, stay with it. Eliminate distractions. I've heard a lot of people I've actually heard studies that say like if you get distracted, like it can actually throw off your creative process by like an hour. Even if you have like a 5-minute distraction, it can like take you an hour to get back into that zone. So yeah, man.
You lose that momentum.
Lose that momentum. It's all about the grind. So yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff we could go on and on about, dude, as far as the creative process and working.
Absolutely.
But I want to hone in, man, before we get rolling out, is your boot camp for writers. I want to talk a little bit about that because I think that's really interesting what you've got going on with that. So basically, you're going to be helping people that are wanting to write books go through that entire process, not only writing, but helping them get that book out there and get it on the charts and get it ranked high.
Absolutely. And it's not just about me trying to sell a course per se. Obviously, I want to be of service to people. With the boot camp for writers, actually, I'm starting tentatively. I'm going to start the course on March the 7th and have my first class. It's going to be a month-long course, 4 weeks at a time. There's actually going to be the 1 week of intense learning. So we're going to meet up Monday through Friday for about an hour and a half at a time on a video hangout. And I'm going to sit down and show in depth my process. And it's going to be step by step by step by step. It's not going to be just we're going to wing it and let me show you what I have. That's going to do you a great disservice. And then the 3 weeks following that, I'm going to provide good email support, constant follow-up and checkup. And I'm going to see if I can also show you other things that are going to help supplement some of the cash flow that you're going to need to get book covers, to get your promotion, because sometimes expenses, you have to bootstrap your way through some things. And I think that's commendable. You got to be resourceful. You have to be reasonable, because if you have to support 3 kids and you've got a wife, if you've only got a couple hours a day and you don't have 2 pennies to rub together, you got to think, okay, how do I come up with this money? So that's another part of that. I'm not just telling people how to write fiction and nonfiction, or how to get keywords, or how to optimize your book to get it up to the top into the bestsellers list. But I also want to show that you can do it without having to put a ton of money into that. So at any rate, March 7th, going to go ahead and start. So if you are interested in that, and anybody else that would be interested, go to bootcampforwriters.com and you just enter your email in there. It's safely, I promise. You can always unsubscribe at any time if you say, oh, Dale, I'm sick of this guy, he talks too much.
One thing I will say about writers, because I get a lot of writers hitting my inbox every day, you will get some long emails from writers, man. The business that I'm in, I'm getting emails, and from you, I mean, you're guilty of that, but there's other people, man, and I'm getting like 5 paragraphs. I'm very, as Bill O'Reilly likes to say, pithy, right? That's what he says. Keep it short, man. If you get an email from me, I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. I keep it short just because that's how, like, I'm not a long-winded person, but no, I find it humorous, man. And it's just the differences between people, but I like it, man. So the boot camp's opening up March 7th. About how many people can you take in that boot camp? How many is I going to be able to fit?
I can take upwards of 8 to 9 people. If we go beyond that, unfortunately, I just think that there's going to be some people pressed out. Just enter your email address and I'll kind of iron out those details. And every week I'm going to keep rolling out a new boot camp. So it's going to keep going in about an 8-week cycle. So I'll be taking 8 different classes. It just depends on the workload goes. Get in early, because if you get in early, obviously there's not going to be as many people in. So you want to get in now, you'll be able to get that one-on-one attention from me. So that's going to be really cool. And the nice thing is I'm also going to start to pair you up with some masterminds and get it to where you're not just getting information from me, but you're also getting it from, peers and people that are also becoming successful in what they're doing.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, man. And obviously you've got my full endorsement, dude. And you're living proof that, someone can actually make a full-time living as a writer and doing it the right way. No pun intended, like actually writing books, doing it, putting the work in, and having it pay off, man. So, dude, it's been a pleasure, man. I'd love to have you back on to follow up here in the next few months and kind of see how everything's going for you, man. Hopefully you have a couple of #1 bestsellers under your belt again. And, man, do you have any closing thoughts before we end this?
Yes, certainly. There's probably going to be some people sitting here watching this, and maybe they'll come in with a skeptical mind. And I hope that you can keep that level of skepticism, but understand this, that if you're not taking action and you're just talking or you're thinking, you're not doing anything. So follow your passion, always do what you're happy. And if it makes you unhappy, then stop doing it, for crying out loud, and do something about it. Take massive action. Those two words right there, I've said it so many times. Massive action solves everything.
It helps. Yeah, it's a way to go.
For sure. Well, yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate you having on here, Jason. It's actually, I can actually check that off my bucket list. Been officially interviewed by Jason Brock.
Been on the Self-Made Show, man. So we did the live hangout. I might actually switch the format up, man. So we'll see how this goes. But all right, Dale, man, it's been a pleasure, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.